does, I've noticed, is he punches on one leg. Again, this breaks the rules in boxing. Then you gotta bang the gloves together. Hey, what's up everybody, Shane here. Today's video, I first just want to congratulate Manny Pacquiao on an amazing boxing career and wish him nothing but health and happiness in his retirement. I know that I learned so much from studying Manny's footage, and I'd like to break down some of that information in today's video. So we're going to take a look at 3 combinations that Manny used very successfully throughout his career, and although they're pretty simple, he added a little flair to them to make them extraordinary. So let's take a look at these details and break down the first combination. A little bit odd. All right, first technique from Manny Pacquiao, as Timothy Bradley would say, is leading with the rear hand. Now, of course, he's a southpaw. Actually, let's dance, Bob. Let's go on the other side. So Manny, being the southpaw, he'll shift his shoulders from side to side, and what he'll do is he'll put his rear shoulder in the lead. I call this the Scotty-Boy punch, if you guys are familiar with my other videos, my other techniques, is he'll put his rear shoulder in the front and he'll get his cross hand closer to the target. This is actually the first shot that he lands against De La Hoya in their match, and he uses it throughout the fight. So he's here, and then he starts to cut that angle, getting to the outside of that orthodox fighter. Right? So again, he's here, and then he'll sometimes double it up. Shifting the shoulders from side to side, creating the illusion that he's still the same distance, but again, he's getting this hand very close and now has a shorter distance to travel. As he does that, he'll step his foot, getting to the outside. That's southpaw or open stance 101, getting that foot and hand to the outside. So as he throws the punch, he'll dip his head out, step that foot out, cut this angle, double up the punch again, sometimes tripling it up. So it looks like this. All right, that's the first one, leading with the rear hand. Next, we're going to look at a combination from Manny that he used throughout his career, and he was able to drop Keith Thurman with this one very early in the fight, gain a lot of momentum, and then he continued to use it throughout. And it's a 1-2-1, a jab, cross, jab. Now that last one isn't always a 1, it's not always a jab, sometimes it's a long lead uppercut, and that 2, that cross, sometimes goes to the head, sometimes it goes to the body. Manny is all about high volume, and he's always changing up his targets. And again, he uses this to cut angles too. So a 1-2-1 on its own would just be 1, 2, 1. But again, there's some footwork in there and there's level changes as well. So maybe it's a 1, 2, 1, cutting out to the right as he does it. Once again, 1, 2, 1, going high, low, high. Or it can be an uppercut, 1, 2, 1. Then you gotta bang the gloves together. Or he'll come over top of that shoulder. Once more. Great combination there. It's great to finish your punches with a jab. You can double up the jab, you can triple up the jab. But again, you get a lot of power on that last shot because the shoulders are loaded up. If I go 1, 2, now my jab hand is now the rear hand, right? Because the shoulder is in the rear. Now I can really put a lot of power on that. So mess around with that one. 1, 2, power jab on that last one. A lot of people say you can't stop someone with a jab. You can't knock someone out with a jab. You can't knock someone down with a jab. Manny Pacquiao begs to differ. This third technique here is awesome. It's a variation of just a simple 1-2, but it's where he's able to add so much speed to his punches. I always admired Pacquiao's punches and bunches, his speed, but he has a different type of speed than someone like Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is a sniper, and he's got speed on single shots, right? Of course he can throw multiple shots, but he's known for his speed on his single lead hook. Pacquiao, on the other hand, throws tons of punches, and that high volume has speed in his shots, but it's the transition between the punches that I noticed was very fast. And I didn't actually learn what he was doing until I did it by accident one day, hitting the heavy bag. What he does, I've noticed, is he punches on one leg. And I call this handcuff punching. So imagine that your hands are handcuffed together, and when you throw a 1-2, you want to keep them relatively close to each other. So it's like a pop-pop. But what he does is when he steps, his rear foot is off the ground. So it looks like this. Now you can start to cut the same angle that he did before. You can follow up with different punches from here. Once again, I'm going to do it in slow motion now. So he'll step on the jab, and already the right hand's coming behind it. So it's almost like he's got 2 punches per step. And now you'll notice a lot of times this rear foot comes off the ground. He's throwing this right hand. Now he can put this rear foot wherever he wants now. Maybe you want to cut the angle out here, follow up with different punches from here. Maybe he's got to chase them down, so it's boom, maybe switches, and then switches again. Really interesting stuff, and again, this breaks the rules in boxing, right? You're never supposed to punch on one leg, you're always supposed to keep both feet on the ground, because that's where the power comes from. Tell that to Manny Pacquiao, right? But again, stepping on the jab, throwing the cross, rear foot still in the air. A lot of speed on that. And it's not necessarily the punch speed itself, it's the transition in between. Now I'm throwing 2 punches where normally everyone's expecting a rhythm 1, 2. Now it's 1, 2. Maybe they caught the jab, they parried the jab, but the 2 came right behind it, they weren't expecting it. That's that off rhythm, that's that off beat that we can catch people with. Cutting an angle, and following up from there. Add that one to your arsenal. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Now remember, before you start to break the rules in boxing, you first have to make sure that you understand the fundamentals, offensively and defensively. You have to make sure that you understand concepts and strategies. And ultimately, you have to make sure that you have good habits before you start to throw handcuff punches or punching on one leg like Manny did. Now here's the thing, remember that Manny had an amazing career. He was one of the best boxers of this era. But he wasn't undefeated, right? He took plenty of licks, he's gotten knocked down and knocked out, but that's something that you can learn from. Learn not just from his greatness and what he did well, but also learn from his mistakes. And that goes for any fighter or any athlete, all right? Learn from the greats so that you can become the best fighter that you can be. If you like this type of video, then you're gonna love what we have to offer on Fighttips.com. There's a link down below to the Fighttips Team Network. You can get 2 weeks absolutely free to all of our exclusive courses and our community on there. You can make a profile, you can start to upload your training log, your footage, and then you can get feedback from myself and from the other coaches and other members on there. Check it out, got nothing to lose, 2 weeks absolutely free down below. Love to see you on there. Till next time, I'm Shane, this is Bob. Fight Tips for the underdog.